Well, welcome back to Rights of the Unfallen Adam. This is part 12. I want to get into a thing I call the side effects are. It's a project I'm putting together. That some suspicions I've had in my mind, I've mentioned in several of the videos in the series, that the side effects of the drug pharmaceutical companies, which they have to, by law, put into their ads you see on TV. Like I said, sometimes the side effects are worse than the ailment. Uh, People have picked up on that. This is some of the news that's come out about this. I'll put the links below. I'm going to take some of these articles, which I'll bring up here on the screen. This is the article. You can either read it here by pausing this video, or you can go to the links below. I don't want to sit here and read this whole article. What I'll do is bring out highlights of it. So here are some of the highlights. This is the opening remarks on that first link. Should TV drug ads list fewer side effects? He states here that the drug company marketing executives hate having to warn people about dangerous drug complication side effects. I can understand it cuts into their profits. Imagine a car salesman trying to sell a car but having to warn customers that there is a 1 in 10 chances the ignition switch will fail, or a 1 in 5 chance the brakes won't work. Now, very many cars would be sold if that were the situation. That's why drug companies are probably thrilled with the FDA's new proposal to reduce this number of side effects warnings in drugs. How about that? See, they're eventually going to do away with all the warnings. They're trying to not become responsible. You're the guinea pig. If it fails you, they don't particularly care about you. They're worrying about their profits. So that's the first excerpt from that article. Now he gives several examples of ads. Here's an example you've all seen this. Remember the moth flying into the bedroom and people were peacefully quiet asleep. The sleeping pill Lunesta. Okay. Now catch the ad, and now remember it gives all these good little things about it up front. And then all of a sudden they go into this fast spiel about the side effects are. It says here, don't drive or operate machinery until you feel fully awake. Well, that makes sense. Walking, eating, driving, or engaging in other activities while asleep without remembering it the next day has been reported. Like sleepwalking. Lunatics should not be taken together with alcohol. Well, that's common sense. Abnormal behaviors may include aggressiveness, agitation, hallucinations, or confusion. In depressed patients, worsening of depression, including risk of suicide, may occur. Alcohol may increase these risks. Allergic reactions such as a tongue or throat swelling occur rarely and may be fatal. It was going to kill you. Side effects may include unpleasant taste, headache, dizziness, and morning drowsiness. Ask your doctor if Lunesta is right for you. Hey, they're in cahoots with these pharmaceutical companies, and they're going to promote their drugs. I remember one time I was in a doctor's office, and I'm sitting there waiting. I won't go into that long story, but here comes these two young women coming in there from a pharmaceutical company. And they're greeting these people, the nurses at the desk, and saying, we have some new drugs we want you to try. And they went a long spiel like that. Now understand, in that same facility, there's the doctor's office, and across the hallway is the pharmaceutical company. It's like they're all in cahoots, They're sharing the profits, Promote our drugs, right? Give out a regimen of pills, right? Try it on these people. They don't know what the side effects are until after it has an effect on you. So they're playing God. Only God knows you better than anybody. Ask your doctor. You better ask the Lord. You ask your doctor if lunacy is right for you. How come you can't sleep? Scripture gives quite a few. We'll be coming back to that and bring out the scripture into all this. Well, I put that in their commentary on this particular ad, whether they approve or not. That it's up for approval. They may post it there. But it's one of those. I don't. I know it's a long drawn out story. You see that my comments in their commentary there. Let me read that real quick. I just highlighted it a moment ago. Let me read that real quick. I put down in my comments in their commentary. I will make a rather long story short. Some 20 years ago, I visited a doctor. While I was sitting in the waiting room, two young women in business suits walked in, greeting the nurses behind the counter, speaking as a regular clientele. Began to promote a regimen of the latest prescription drugs, saying the company wanted them to try them out on their patients. Well, at the moment, I didn't give it much thought until I was seen by the doctor for a simple earache. I was in there just for an earache. This is where the story could get rather long, my giving reasons for my having high blood pressure that day, and this goes in long drawn out. So I usually share that. If people want to know, I would share it to them over the phone. I don't usually try to put that out in public, other than the essence of that right here, like this. Needless to say, they, the nurse and the doctors, focused on the high blood pressure. The doctor wanted to try a regimen of new pills. Now, hear that? On me. Probably just got them in from these two young women. I responded to this by saying the side effects are. The doctor didn't like that. It began to demean my coming to a doctor with a simple earache when I, to her opinion, had a serious problem with my blood pressure. Well, I could explain that away. Well, the doctor went to try regimen, but the doctor didn't like that and began to demean my coming to the doctor with a simple earache when I, to her opinion, had a serious problem with my blood pressure. Well, she took an EKG. She was that sick. They thought they were going to call an ambulance. Well, she took an EKG, was shocked that it was normal. Well, I responded to this by saying, well, maybe you should leave it alone. I came here for an earache. You know how that went over with her. She wrote out the prescription anyway, saying to me, I know people like you. You don't come to a doctor for serious matters, just simple ones. With that, I took the prescription to avoid any further argument, knowing what I would do with it once I left her office. Here's the ending of this story. As I was walking out, she said, you can have the prescription filled across the hallway. Oh my God. Now, how convenient. It makes you wonder if big pharmaceutical companies and doctors are in this just for the money. Are they in cahoots? I am not their guinea pig. Either they know me well enough to know my system's reaction to a pill, or they don't. They aren't God's. And then my God-given rights. Follow his leading. I'm not telling people to follow my leading. Even in my series, Rights to the Unfallen Adam, I'm not trying to give out medical advice. I even put a disclaimer at the beginning of that series that I'm not. You got to that's between you and God. Now, if you want to trust in a doctor, you better go to God first. Seek first the kingdom of God. All these other things would be added. He'll take care of you. Now, there's times I've been led of God to go to the doctor, which comes out in this series now. How I've been done this. So I'm not against doctors. I'm against you going to a doctor, independent from first seeking out God's input on this. That's what this long drawn out story could be getting into, as to how I had that earache, and I'd asked the Lord to help me. He cleared it. Yet I felt obligated to go to the doctor since I made the appointment. Well, I said, this is matters I get into of a personal nature, and I usually share it to people one-on-one on the phone. So that gives you some idea of one of these articles. The other second article is I'll put down in the commentary. Well, that's basically the same thing. How the pharmaceutical companies are trying to get away from having to have all these disclaimers in their ads. Imagine that. You'll never know. You ask the doctor, he's not going to tell you. You better ask God. What pills are you taking? I mean, if the Lord allows it, I'm not going to attack people because they take prescription pills. Every now and then I take an Alka-Seltzer if I get heartburn or something like that, or we take Rolaids or something like that. I don't ask God about that. God don't, But could he deal with that? Without a doubt. I've got in that just lately now. Maybe I'll come out a little later on another, but I'll probably call that one. Don't let the left hand know what the right hand's doing. Briefly, what I want to get in that video is that when God tells you something, you just do it. You don't share it with no one. He did that lately with me. Here's an example, which I don't do it now because I've shared it with my wife and I shared it with other people and ended it. The left hand found out what the right hand's doing. All of a sudden I had this great desire to eat watermelon. I mean, and after a while it comes and after a while that desire goes. You just, all of a sudden you don't want to eat no more watermelon. So I made a mistake. God bless my wife. She knows these things. She's a dietitian. She's a food service production manager, nurse homes and stuff like that. So I asked her, why would I get this strong desire to drink watermelon, eat watermelon? And she went into this long spiel, which she can do. She's knowledgeable in that area, as the effect of what watermelon will do for you. It cleanses you. I mean, I kept waking up in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom. She's, yeah, it's flushing your whole urinary tract out. If there's any ill effect of, I haven't got the words for it, but bad germs or something like that in your system, the watermelon flushes it out. Now, don't go off tomorrow and start eating watermelon because you heard from Paul Woodred you should eat watermelon. That's the Lord. Like I said, I don't have that desire no more, so that's gone. And then one day he had me, for another example, real quick, he had me get into beets. Beets, beets. I bought cans of pickled beets. Why? No. Well, I got them. I liked them. Then again, I made a mistake of letting the left hand know what the right hand was doing. God had given me that desire. And he said, when I tell you stuff, don't share it. God bless your wife. She knows these things. And what she's saying is right. It does do that for you. But you don't do this independent from me. Let me lead you to these things. And it's different. It's not body exercise. It's godliness. It's hearing from God on a matter. He said, Lord, I've been feeling a lot of dizzy spells lately. He'll say, eat beets. Eat beets. Don't ask why. Disobey. Well, that desire came and it went. Now you couldn't get me to eat beets. Like you did that with spinach. I was a kid, I hated spinach. All of a sudden I just had this craving, love for spinach. Every one of those things that God leads you to, if you don't let the left hand know what the right hand's doing, will work for you. Once you let the left hand know what you're doing, then you got to stop. He'll stop. He'll turn to something else. So that gives you some idea of the side effects are turn to God.